And we are live. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hello, hello,
Yay,
hello.
hello. We're so glad to have you all here. This is Life of a Home Cook, and I have my sister with me, Miss Denise Jordan, and our co-host, and it's so excited to be here tonight. We have just looked forward to being able to spend this time together and with you. And so tonight, Denise, you know, it's that time of the year, and I don't Oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed already, just trying to get ready for, because at this time of the year, we're trying to get ready to come inside. That's basically it. And get ready for those chilly days. What about you?
You know, I look forward to this time of the year when after
Mhm.
we've had all the heat of the summer, when it's just a little bit cool and you can just kind of enjoy the weather again. But you notice I had a sweater on and then I had to
Mhm.
take it off because it's just a little bit cool. So you kind of have to layer up just a little bit. But it also turns my thoughts to, okay, so now that it's fall, the holidays are just around the corner. So now
Mhm.
what do I need to do to get prepared for that? So even though we know we have almost 2 months away, we know
Mhm.
that time will be here before you know it. And
You're
so
absolutely right.
are we ready?
Phew. I don't know. I don't know. So, what we're going to do tonight, everyone, we are going to talk about 10 powerful tips. And it's going to be using our strategy. Last week we talked about storing, stocking, and our staples in our kitchen.
Mhm.
But now we're going to talk about simplifying it because at this point, we do a lot of outdoorsy types of things throughout the summer and in the spring. And now it's time to get into the kitchen and get everybody into the kitchen and into the
Mhm.
house and get ready for winter. So, we're going to give you some practical strategies. Hopefully, you will share your strategies for things that you do as well. And we're going to try to streamline things. I don't know about you. I'm at that point in life where, oh, girl, I,
Hold on, take me away.
yes, I need it easy peasy.
Mhm.
And let's just do what we got to do. Now, I know, Denise, you had talked about it. I laugh because, we always have a script, guys. We always have a script, but we always get off script before we
Oh,
get
always.
started. But I thought about the fact, Miss Denise had talked about the fact that, when we're preparing, that there are certain routines that we have to follow, or that we should follow anyway,
Yes.
to try to better prepare ourselves. And she's absolutely right. And I have a tendency sometimes I'll follow that routine, I'll stay on it, and then all of a sudden something will happen and I am off the wagon. And
Mhm.
so, at this point, I'm trying to rally myself to get myself back into my normal routine. So you all tell me, are you at that point too? I'm not ready to give up the summer. I was having a good time during the summer. So, one thing, let me just say, I am Leona Dooley from Ebony Ivy and Thyme. I have my co host, Denise Jordan from Homemaking with Denise. And we are certainly so glad that all of you are here. And so we are going to get into it. But let me just say, there's a rule to this.
Mhm.
Homemaking is not a race.
No.
So it's slow and steady that wins the race.
Well, can I add to that too?
Yes, you can.
Homemaking is not a destination, it's a
Oh,
journey.
oh,
So
girl.
even though slow and steady wins the race,
Mhm.
it's a continuous journey. It's never done. You can have a spotless house today, and a month from now, it looks like a bomb dropped on it because sometimes life be life,
Yeah.
and like you said, you get off your routine or whatever.
Mhm.
So if you
And
keep that in mind too, it's not a race and it's not a destination. It's a journey.
And we're all at different places, and we're all a variety of different ages, from
Mm-hmm.
young to those of us who are a little more mature in
Yeah.
age. That's it, a little more, just a little more mature in age. And so, we all have the same things that we need to do. We have homes and families that we need to attend to, and we just may be at a different place in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to talk about some of the things that, we know we need to do, but sometimes we get off track. And that's where we're going tonight. Now, when we're going to talk about streamlining, now, I love that word. And I started using it, and as I was thinking, because, we hear declutter, declutter, declutter. And it was to the point of where I went, declutter. So don't tell me that anymore. So I thought, no, we're streamlining our process. So when you think about streamlining, Denise, what are some of the things you think about doing?
Well, I think when I think about streamlining, I think about what can I cut out? What can I remove that's affecting my peace? And notice I said what's affecting my peace, because if it's something on my kitchen counter and it's interrupting the way that I can maneuver in the kitchen, it's affecting my peace. One thing that affects me in the pantry frequently is that I have one of those old-fashioned deep pantries. So things get at 6s and 7s in there quickly, because you move one thing out to try to get to something in the back, you move something over, and then if you're in a hurry, you shove things in. And I realized that the fewer things that I have in there, the better I am, because it doesn't get as messy when I have fewer things in there. So sometimes when you talk about decluttering or streamlining, sometimes you just have to have fewer things. I remember once my oldest granddaughter, she must have been about, I don't know, 9 or 10, and I had gone out there to visit, and I was getting after her about not keeping her things picked up and not taking care of her things. And she said, well, I guess I just have too many things. And I thought to myself, you know what? She got a point there. She's got too many things. And me being the grandma, and this being our first grandchild, was contributing to the things. I learned business right then and there. But she said, I got too many things. Like, I thought, she's right. So sometimes I have too many things. So one of the things that I try to do now is not have so many things. When someone tries to give me something, I'm thinking, okay, where am I going to put it? Do I have somewhere to put it? And if I don't have somewhere to put it, or if there's not something I'm going to get rid of so that I can put it in its space, then I can't have it.
Right. Right. And, and that's something that we have to be careful with, because, so many times people are sharing things with you and they think, oh, well, you are involved in such and such. I know for me, you're always cooking so and so. I just knew you were going to like this. And so they want to give you this. And I'm thinking, but you don't understand. My cabinet is already full of the things that I need. Already full. And so I don't want to say that to them, because I don't want them to think that I'm not grateful for what they have. So, but things can get out of control. They can get out of hand because we run real kitchens.
Exactly.
We cook every night.
And it's when you say real kitchens, we live in our kitchens, we cook in our kitchens, we're in and out of our kitchens in every aspect of it. So it's not a YouTube kitchen, it's not a set like Rachel Ray.
No.
We don't have a sous chef or a cleanup crew.
I wish when I see Bobby Flay out there and he's slinging stuff, I'm thinking, Oh, you already know. He didn't even have to clean up that stove.
Mm-mm.
Because
Mm-mm.
otherwise he wouldn't be swinging like he does. But,
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the things that as we think about our real kitchens, and the fact that we want to prepare real food and we want to stay in that habit of doing that. And so one of the things we want to remember is the fact that it's not just our task. We want to be able to get as our family members involved because and the reason we're starting with the kitchen is because it is the biggest place.
Mm-hmm.
And where most of the people, when they come, I know when they come into my house, most people they pass up the living room, pass up the family room, and where do they land? In the
Come in the
kitchen.
kitchen and take a seat.
Absolutely. That's where they take a seat. And what are you cooking? That's the first thing. What are you cooking? What do you have in there? And so, which is fun. I enjoy that. But, but regardless, of the physical state of your kitchen, whether you have a little teeny tiny kitchen or whether you have a gigantic, fantastic Southern living kind of kitchen, it doesn't matter because if I know if you aren't taking care of it, then it's going to get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing that that kitchen is the busiest room, then that means that we've got to put it in such a state where not only can we relax and
Yeah.
do the things that we want to do, but we want everyone else to feel welcome.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. So, working for me, it's easier for me to break it down into little small tasks. How about you?
Okay. Well, and that I do too. When I think about when I put my kitchen to rest for the night,
Mm-hmm.
I have a series of tasks or a routine that I follow. I
Mm-hmm.
load the dishwasher
Mm-hmm.
after dinner. And one thing, as you had said, we want it to be good for our families. But let me just say, you want to make sure that your family is part of your after dinner cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody eats. Everybody can help with the after dinner cleanup, and you
That's
can
right.
kind of assign them different tasks. And my husband, a lot of times, will wash the dishes, or he'll get the dishes and put them in the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes I might not have to rearrange a few things because the way he loads it, sometimes I don't
Mm-hmm.
think water can get to it just
Mm-hmm.
so. So, but I might have to rearrange a few things, but not much. But while he's doing that, I might be taking care of the pots and pans, getting the food put away, wiping down the counter and the table. But there's 5 things that I like to do, which includes wipe down the table, wipe down the
Mm-hmm.
counter, start the dishwasher, wipe
Mm-hmm.
down the stove,
Mm-hmm.
and put any food away. Those things help me keep my kitchen nice and neat.
That's right. That's right. And that has become, well, in fact, that has been my routine as long as I can remember.
Mhm.
Because I knew if I didn't do those things, number one, when I got up the next morning,
Exactly.
I
Yes.
was going to be mean as a skunk
Mhm.
because things were not going to be the way I wanted them. And
Well, and
then,
then you have to clean up from the day before.
yes, in addition to the things that you need to do. And when your kitchen is a hot mess, you just don't want to go in there to cook. And that's
No.
something, you don't want to go in there. And I know my kitchen, usually I had cooking going on. The kids were doing homework. I was usually checking papers, from school. So I had my homework, they had their homework, and cooking was going on. So we all had a task, but we were all right here in the kitchen.
Mhm.
And so we were able to keep up with everything. So, one of the problems that I had, I don't know, you may not have this problem, is that I ended up hiding some of my clutter, to be honest with you.
Oh.
And I can't remember. It is probably until the past 3 years that I have not had a junk drawer. Well, I'm going to say it's probably longer than 3 years because it's been since the kids left. To be honest with you, because I had all the crayons, the scissors, all that stuff was in there. But I always had a junk drawer. And they knew if it was something they were looking for, they could go look for it in the junk drawer because that's probably where it was. We got swooped off and in there.
Mhm.
But, you know, the junk drawer typically is just that place where we kind of put things. And if we hear somebody coming through the door, into the junk drawer, there it is. But it's out of sight. Now, there are three things, guys, that I've figured out that I could do. I could hide it. And of course, hiding just makes the junk drawer even worse. I could dump it, and then I would end up throwing some things away that the kids really didn't need.
Or you might
Or,
need.
yeah, or I could sort it and
Mhm.
figure out and really have a place for everything and make them put things away like
Mhm.
they should. So I thought sorting it might be the more gentle method. But I don't know about you. There were days that I have to admit, I may not have been in the more gentler mood. And it was like, y'all come and get this stuff, and y'all come and get it now, and you get it to where it's supposed to be. But, you know, the nice thing is to be able to do it before it gets to that point
Yes.
of where you're growling. And because I don't like growling, I don't like being the one to growl, and nor do, you know, and they don't want to be growled at either.
Mm-mm.
But, you know, we always want to give everything a proper place if at all possible. And if it doesn't have one, I have discovered that I should let it go.
Well, not only that, if it doesn't have a place, is there something that is occupying a space where it could go or should go?
Mhm.
Or if it doesn't have a place, is it something that you really need? Because if you really need it, you'll try to find a place for it.
That's true. That's true. Well, what about your kitchen table? Does your kitchen table have a problem?
You know, it does. And usually the problem is me today. It's not like there was a time when there'd be other people putting stuff on the table, but
Mhm,
today sometimes it's me. For example, if I'm working on a video in the kitchen, I
mhm,
might push the table out of the way so that I can get around the counter to
mhm,
wherever I'm fitting. And maybe I have some books on the table that I've been working with. So I might just kind of push them to the side or set them on the chair,
mhm.
or put a few things on the table while I'm working temporarily, and then I have to move those things aside. But not like where we have a bunch of stuff that just stays there indefinitely, because it's usually clutter, something that
Mhm.
actually does have a place, but it's out of the place temporarily because I've been working with it and just
Mhm.
hasn't put it back in its home yet.
That's true. Me too. Now, you know, you are the queen of clutter stops, as
Yes.
far as I'm concerned. So tell our audience, because I'm sure there's somebody out there who hasn't heard about a clutter stop. They're probably going, "What?"
Well, a
Yes.
clutter stop is something that I learned about from Fly Lady Cat, and her channel is called A Better Life with Cat. And she used to be a fly lady. She doesn't work with Fly Lady anymore. But a clutter stop is when you look at a spot. Well, a clutter stop is when 3 or 4 times a day you take the time to go and just kind of take a look around, and you see where are things that are out of place, what are things that are not in their home, and you just pick them up and you take them there. So for example, I was looking at a new cookbook that I got, another cookbook that I but a new cookbook that I got, and it's still on the table. But when I do my clutter stop, I would pick it up and put it in the cabinet where I store
Mhm.
cookbooks, because there is a
Mhm.
place for it. Or maybe when hubby came in and he dropped the mail on the table and went on about his business. So a clutter stop would be maybe after lunch. I'm like, oh, there's mail on the table. I pick the
Mhm.
mail up and take it where we keep the mail until it's dealt with. So
Mhm.
you just 3 or 4 times a day, usually after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, and sometimes more. If fourth one, if you need it, you just kind of pick things up and put them in their home. So you're not decluttering, you're not throwing things away, you're picking up things that are temporarily out of place. So for example, let's say I was working with something at the table and I had this staple on the table. Well, I have a place for this staple and it's not on the kitchen table, but this might have been where I was using it. So when I do my clutter stop, I'm going to pick this up and take it upstairs and put it in the office, because this
Mhm.
staple lives up here in this office.
Hmm. I know, and I find that when the kitchens when the clutter has been taken away and put away, then we're a lot happier. Now we're going to stop here for just a moment because then we're going to come back to our counters because the counters, you know, that's another big topic. So let me go up here. We have a lot of folks on tonight. We're so glad to have everyone here. And we're going to start with we've got Hazel. Hey, Hazel. We're glad to have you here. That was some awfully pretty bread that you made. We're so excited. If anyone got to see Hazel's bread, you know what? They may not have seen it yet, but they will this week. I put it on the post. And so everyone will get to see your bread. And I'm so excited about that. Tamika, we're glad that you're here with us tonight. So glad to see you. We've got Nitty T. Hello, hello, who's with us? We have the wise woman Lola, who's here with us. Hello, we're so glad that you're here. We've got Cinta, who's with us. Pollard, who's here. And Cinta's been doing some things with her sourdough as well. And while I'm speaking of sourdough in the middle of all this, I started my sourdough bread today. She's in the refrigerator waiting for tomorrow, girlie. And it's going to be going in the oven. I can't wait. I can't wait.
You didn't FaceTime me so I could start mine.
Well, I'll get you started so you can get you going. But I learned something. And as soon as we finish telling everybody hello, I'm going to tell you all a secret that I found out. And I tried it. I was so afraid I was going to mess up. But I did something. And I tell you what, I'm so glad I did. So Tamika, she says she's looking forward to the fall season too. She said it's her favorite season. We've got T. Drayton. Hello, hello. We're glad you're here with us. We got Luann who's here with us. Aloha from Hawaii, and great to see you as well. Take Me to Tammy's House is here with us.
You were just talking about Tammy a few days ago.
I know.
And here she pops up.
She's not at church tonight. Oh no, you're sick with a cold. I was
just talking about you, literally.
Yes, I told her. I said we haven't seen her. Where has she been? But I'm sorry you're sick. That's no fun. That is certainly no fun, and we hope you feel better quickly. T. Drayton said it's pumpkin spice season. Yes,
you can buy pumpkin spice creamer too at the store.
Yes. I went to Wally today following the big guy while we're checking everybody in. Hello, Judy. And only to find there were some little spots in places of where you would expect to see quite a few things. And I didn't think the variety of creamer was as diverse as what we normally see. There was no pumpkin spice. And I don't know what was going on.
I was at Kroger just for a minute today. I went to pick up a prescription for a family member. Ended up picking up a whole bunch of other stuff while I was there.
Yeah, me too.
Creamer, and I just didn't stop to look because I thought, look, you're on a mission. That's not what you're here for. Get out of the store. But I was thinking pumpkin spice creamer ought to be in. Okay.
Nope, wasn't there.
Well, it's at Starbucks now. Pumpkin spice taste.
I did. I have plans to try a new pumpkin spice protein shake. So we'll see how that comes out. I'll let you all know if it turns out good. And if it does, I'll share it with you. But Anne, we're so glad you're here tonight. And we pray that everything is well with you. We have Carmen, who's here with us tonight. Hazel is saying that fall has always been her favorite time of the year, and she is ready. Tamaral is here with us tonight. Hello, hello, hello. We've got Joy here tonight.
Oh,
And
it's been a while since we've seen her.
I know, I
Is
know.
she in the UK or Australia? One of those two places, I
Yes.
believe.
So, Joy, you'll have to remind us because sometimes we forget, but
Mhm.
let us know. I know I don't think you're in the United
I
States.
don't think so.
And so let us know. All right, Nita B is here, and we're going to do some of these real quick. We've got Darlene here tonight. We got Florence here tonight. Hey, Florence, glad you're here. And we have Friend here from Tennessee, and we appreciate that. We certainly appreciate that. We enjoy being able to share, and you share with us. My blessed nest is here tonight. Glad to have you here. Now, Florence is sharing that it's amazing how much stuff that she's collected and don't actually need. She said decluttering this month, spring cleaning, but a fall edition. Okay, okay, I understand. I understand. And I walked into a store and oh my goodness, there are stores with Christmas stuff out. Oh, I could
I mean,
not
I'm
believe
sure
it.
they got their Thanksgiving and Christmas things out because it's October. Oh, no, it's September, and they start putting them out early.
Well, I was listening to a show today, and they were saying that some of the reason, now, of course, we know that certain stores bring their Christmas out early anyway,
Mhm.
but there are a lot of stores are bringing some of their supplies out now so that people can buy now because they know that the cost is going to go up, and so they're hoping that people will buy now because they figure once the cost goes up, people are going to shut their purses.
Well,
And
I have to agree. I know I was talking with my admin earlier today, and she's
mhm,
going to put out like our fall the aprons that we have for
mhm,
Thanksgiving and
mhm,
even our Christmas things. We're probably going to get those things out sooner than later,
mhm,
simply because people have to really plan their budgets
mhm.
differently now. And if they're going to pick up a gift or whatever, they have to start sooner than later and maybe just do it a little at a time.
That's true. That's true. Well, Deb is here with us tonight,
Hey,
and
Dad.
we're so glad that you're here. We are doing well. We hope you're doing well as also. Charlene's here with us,
Hey,
as
Charlotte.
well as Vicky. Vicky, we haven't seen you for a little bit.
No.
We're glad that you're here. And she said fall is her favorite season, and she's looking forward to some great tips.
Well,
Charlene,
Miss Leona always has great tips.
we're looking forward to it. So, it sounds like we've got folks who are geared up. Now, I know Charlene's in an area of California where it's probably, yep, still warm, still warm. And, it is warm in some of the areas where we are. Now, today it's a little chilly because it's raining, but we're supposed to have warm temperatures the rest of the week. So, it's up and down, and it's going to be that way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to those countertops. How many of you, when you walk into your kitchen and you look at your countertop, you're thinking, what can I take off the counter? That's the question. Is there something sitting on the counter that I can remove and not absolutely have to have on the counter? Now, that's the question we're going to be asking ourselves. And so we want to be able to, it's like we want to take everything off the counter. That's going to be our task this week. At least one day, remove everything and see it blank, a blank canvas. And the only things you bring back are going to be those things you absolutely have to have. And if not, then then we're going to put them away. And if they're things that we have not used in months, it may mean that we really don't need them out, period.
That's an interesting assignment or challenge, I should say, because when I think about my kitchen counter, I don't have a lot of space. It's um, I don't want to say
It's very
U-shaped
used.
because it's not an
Yeah.
oval,
Hmm.
but it's like a three-sided. rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
Got this leg, and then it's got space across the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, space across the middle is where the sink is and the window, so nothing goes there.
Mm-hmm.
On this side, on this
Mm-hmm.
side of the cabinet is where I have is my prep space. But
Mm-hmm.
at the back of this side, say right up here, is
Mm-hmm.
where I have my air fryer,
Mm-hmm.
KitchenAid stand mixer. And
Mm-hmm.
those are large appliances, even though they're small appliances when you purchase.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
large appliances to have sitting on your counter. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't have space in my pantry to put them.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, those puppies are,
Are heavy.
that KitchenAid stand is heavy. So I'm not going to take it off the counter unless I'm doing something that I don't want anything to splash on it or whatever. The other side of the counter is the side that I have my canister sitting,
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
Keurig, and some cutting boards, and that's like on this side of the U,
Mm-hmm.
this side of this side of the U,
Mm-hmm.
and that also leads right up to the stove because
Mm-hmm.
the stove is on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some things sitting on there, but they're things that we do use. Now I've got a set of ball glass storage containers.
Mm-hmm.
Got some crackers in them, some grits, some oatmeal,
Mm-hmm.
things we reach for, and they could probably go in the pantry. But
Mm-hmm.
what I learned by watching my husband is that there's certain things in the pantry he can never find.
Mm-hmm.
I brought them out, put them in a jar on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
So it works for him. He can access it. He can get to it, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's since that they fit underneath the cabinet, they're really not taking up space that I would be working in because I mean, I'm not, it would be like if it was under here. It's
Right.
not, I'm going to be working under there. They're just
Mm-hmm.
there. So I just got the space in front of it. So I really don't have much on my kitchen counters that are in the way. I
Mm-hmm.
Over time, I've pared it down to what I just
Mm-hmm.
absolutely have to have. Now, I will admit, I was watching Megan, the Duchess of Sussex, when I was looking at her kitchen, and she had these really cute little glass jars with wooden lids, had a little spoon attached. She had little things in them. I thought, oh, I'm going to get something like that. And I did. But what I found is that I put pecans in one, I put granola in another, and dried cranberries in another. My husband uses those things every morning, and they're right there.
Mm-hmm.
He can see them. He can get access to them, so they really work. They work in my kitchen, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not it. And I do have a tray that sits this way, and I've
Mm-hmm.
got what is in it? I've got my cutting board sitting in the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the tray is about this much up off the counter so that if the counter gets wet, if I'm I've spilled something up there, they don't get wet. But I've got my cutting board in there. I've got a canister in there with coffee, coffee K-cups, a
Mm-hmm.
decorative sugar bowl, a little thing with tea in it that's kind of decorative, and a little plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I can lift it up. It's like a little vignette kind of thing. I can lift it,
Mm-hmm.
move
Mm-hmm.
that way if I need to, but I keep it there. I can access my cutting boards so much easier in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do have to watch to make sure I don't knock them over and, you know, that kind of thing. But I think the things I have on my countertop are things that I use. If I move that air fryer, my husband would never
Mm-hmm.
use it. And he uses it most. We used to
Huh.
have one of those grills, those grills that you can, the
Mm-hmm.
extra large grill. I can't remember, Ninja
Like
or
George
something.
Foreman or Ninja. Mm-hmm.
Like a Ninja. It's real
Mm-hmm.
big, and you
Mm-hmm.
lift it up, and you can air fry, grill, do different things in it. Well, when I got the air fryer, I had to move one of them off. So
Right.
it's in the garage, so we don't use it. The air fryer is
Mm-hmm.
in the spot because we
Mm-hmm.
use it.
Mm-hmm.
If I take it off the counter, we'll never use it.
Right. Because they're not going to go and pick it up.
No.
So in your case, so what you're saying is that as you look at your counter, and it may not be for you because you've probably done some of this already, in
Mhm.
that you have looked at your counter space and have really started to pare it down.
Yes.
But for those who haven't, then these are the things we have to think about. We think about those things that we absolutely use. that are on the counter.
Mhm.
That's first. We think about those things that we are going to use, but they are too heavy for us to carry here and there and here and there. And even when I had new cabinets in, I didn't think about having one of those shelves that I could have put the KitchenAid on, that I could bring it up and then put it back in, because that takes up one whole cabinet by itself, that
It takes
mechanism.
up a lot of space.
And so that would like be one whole cabinet. I just have to say, okay, there he is. That's for the KitchenAid. Well, I
Mhm.
wasn't ready to give up an entire cabinet just for one device. And
Mhm.
so as we look at our cabinets, sometimes there are things that are sitting on our cabinet that we really don't need. And so those are the things that we're talking about. I know as I look on mine, and two, we have to make it not only convenient for us, but for the people that we're living with.
Right.
And so that goes back to breakfast and those kind of things. If you have little people or you have husbands who are coming in and they're willing to fix their breakfast, then certainly you want to make it as convenient for them as possible. Now, I tried putting things on a tray so that I could pick up the tray. Once breakfast was over with, wipe down the tray, put the things back on the tray, and have a place for the tray, and so that it was kind of out of the way,
Mhm.
and which clears up. And if I'm really having company, then I can very easily move it, and
Mhm.
it's not a big to do. But our counters just they just things just seem, it's like a magnet. Things just seem to end up on that counter. And I try to keep it as clear as possible.
You
Now.
know, I used to have a table, like a folding table. I still have it,
Mhm,
but I moved it. And I would
mhm,
have it sitting at the end of the counter. So let's say I've
mhm,
been working in the kitchen and I need some extra space. Let's say we're
mhm,
doing a show and I got all these things on top of this
mhm,
table. If I leave that table sitting at the end of that counter, just fold it up so it's flat, but there's
mhm.
about this much space. If I leave it sitting there, the next thing I know, there's something sitting on that table. Then there's something else, and there's something else. We just automatically start stacking things on that
Mhm.
table at the end of the counter. So I just had to take it out of the kitchen and just keep it out of the kitchen, period.
Yeah.
Unless I'm using it, and
Mhm.
it'll take me a few days to get to where I put it back to where it should go. Otherwise, I'm stacking stuff on it.
I know. Nitty T said that she's been wanting to move her plate stand for a while, but she likes to decorate the top tier and place weekly prep items and fruit on the bottom. And
Mhm.
Nitty T, I've got a little double tiered rack as well. I used to do it just strictly for decor, but then I decided that I was actually going to put fruit and vegetables in it because it was just so much more convenient. But those are things, and plus it's easy for the big guy to just pick it up, go get it, and he
Mhm.
will eat whatever it is.
Mhm.
So Cinta's saying that she does not like a cluttered countertop, and I do understand.
Mhm.
um, Charlene said that her countertop is somewhat like yours, where she's got things evidently that are handy, that she needs things that are handy and ready to go. Now, Renee says she's the opposite. She needs to add something to her countertops. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like anything on hers. She uses an appliance, washes it, puts it back in the box and back on the shelf until the next time. Wow.
Now, my daughter doesn't like to have anything on her countertop
Hmm.
either. And she's got a
Hmm.
lot of counter space, but she
Hmm.
prefers to have the countertop clear.
Hmm.
And I used to try to figure out why can't you ever find anything? Because when she's putting her kitchen to bed at night,
Hmm.
she comes through. If there's anything on the counter, she just swipes it off and it goes in the drawer. It's like she doesn't want anything up there. And
Hmm.
I thought that's why things kind of get lost sometimes because it's like she doesn't want to have to see it. She likes
Right.
the clear space there. So she's got a little coffee center where
Mhm.
coffee, like the coffee pot is up there, but the coffee cups and all that, not cups, but the K cups and all that, coffee bags is in a drawer. There's nothing else up on the counter on that side but the coffee pot.
Mhm.
And some people are like that. They like things clear.
Mhm.
My vacuum sealer, I get it
Mhm.
out, I use it. Once I'm done with it, I put it back in the box because it's easy for me to store it in the pantry in the box where I have it. But
Mhm.
like for the toaster, I put it, I've got one of those little daisies, those
Mhm.
ones
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
shelves like that. It goes underneath there.
Yeah, that's where mine is too. And in fact, it's so funny because of where it is, it's kind of out of sight and out of mind. And I can't tell you when we've used a toaster.
Oh, we use a toaster several times a week. And if we have company, they'll say, well,
Uh-huh.
where's your toaster? And I'm like, oh, it's under here. And it's easy to get to. You just
Yeah.
open it up, spin it around. But yeah, we use it. Or do you have a toaster oven?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
But our oven does all of that. So
Mhm.
I just use the oven. And so, but the toaster is something that now if the kids are here, then the toaster is being constantly used. So I just take it out and put it out on the counter. But just for the two of us, I don't usually do that. Tamika's saying that she's thinking about installing floating shelves for her toaster and the electric kettle.
I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't like that in my kitchen. No.
The
But then I don't
floating
have space for a floating shelf though either.
I don't either. I don't either. Nitty T says she's been wanting to move her. Oh, we've seen that one. Okay, back
Mhm.
to Tamika. She said she has a small kitchen with one counter, so her counter space is very limited. She keeps a small microwave and air fryer on one side, and the toaster and electric kettle on the other. And so, our kitchens all have their designs, and
Yes.
so we have to look at what best fits
Mhm.
our household, but as much as possible. And one of the things, I was watching this lady clean the other day, and that's something that I think back early. Did I, as an early first married cook, go through and pick up every appliance and move it and clean? I only did that once a week,
Mhm.
and put it back. And she was saying, we need to do it nightly. And so, but I didn't have time to go and move all of that stuff out of the way. So her thought was, if you can't move it, then it needs to go. You don't need to have it because you need to be able
Really?
to clean underneath. And so, I've got mixed reviews about that because that's a lot of work and a lot of stress.
Right. Oh no, I don't do that every night.
Yeah, you just can't do that every night. Now, Denise, do you have certain things that you have more than one of? I think that's a yes.
My biggest thing is that, well, first of all, I have too many plates, way too many plates. And I'm thinking about what do I need to do about that. But it's my not the utility drawer, but one of my drawers where I keep like spoons and knives and not flatware that we use to eat with, but things we use to cook with, to stir
Mhm,
with, to um maybe scrape herbs or something. Now,
mhm.
I lost some things the other day because I had them in a basket that I had set out in the garage temporarily. And I went to get them, and hubby had thought that was a basket for the Goodwill. And so those things ended up gone.
Oh, no.
I was like, what? But that being said, I probably have other duplicates of some of those items. So I probably have too many of those kind of utensils, and I really need to pare down so that I have less.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I looked in one of the drawers today. They have all the cooking utensils.
Mhm.
And, when you have three, four, and five of the same thing, I'm thinking, do I really need all of these?
3 sets of measuring cups.
Yes. And we won't talk about how many measuring spoons. And
There's 3
so,
sets.
and different styles, you know.
There's 3 styles.
I need that. And so I was, as I was working today, I thought, okay, well, I want to use this style to do so and so. And, I really do need this style to do this. And I'm thinking, okay, Leona, if that's how you ended up with all of this junk, you need to settle down, settle on one particular set and use it. But, when you're multitasking,
Mhm.
you end up with measuring spoons over here, measuring cups over there. You need measuring cups over here, and you may need the same one. You don't have, and like when we're doing shows, we don't have time to do all the washing in between.
Yeah.
So we need additional sets in order to get it all done.
Well, and go ahead. You go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, here's the other thing. How functional are those measuring cups too? Because that's another problem. I shouldn't say problem, another issue or concern. I
Mhm.
have a set of Pioneer Woman measuring cups, and they are just lovely. I
Mhm.
saw Kim at I can't remember her channel now, but she had some and they were so pretty. I thought, oh, I'm going to get some of those. So I got a
Mhm.
set and I rarely use them. And I rarely use them because, at least for me, I like to be able to grab a measuring cup. I had a cup coffee up here, so this is why it's
Mhm.
here, but where I can just kind of put it down in
Mhm.
something and then sprinkle it wherever it is I need to
Mhm.
sprinkle it. So those particular cups don't work like that for me.
Mm-mm.
I
Mm-mm.
have a set of Tupperware measuring cups I probably had 30, 40 years.
Mhm.
Got the whole, I think I might have lost one of them. At one time, I had an orange set and a green set.
Mhm.
Now, the orange set, there's one cup missing and there's one green one in there. So I've got a set of Tupperware ones that I've had forever. And I like the way they feel in the hand when you grab the little handle. And they have a 3/4 cup, which
Mhm.
these sets don't have. Then I have a metal set that I really like.
Mhm.
There's only four:
Mhm.
a cup, a half, a third, and a quarter.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I have those two sets, and then I have that, Pioneer Woman. They just sit in there, and
Mhm.
I get them out every now and then to look pretty. And I
Mhm.
have a set of snowmen measuring cups that I get out at Christmas time.
Mhm.
But it's like, so I have four sets of measuring cups, three sets that are out all the time, but I actually only use two.
Mhm.
And same with
Mhm.
the measuring spoons. I've got a set of metal measuring spoons that the way the spoons are situated, they go down inside most of the spice jars, except for
Mhm.
the tablespoon. They
Mhm.
all go into the spice jars.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
Tupperware ones that I have, they don't, the teaspoon sometimes and above, they don't fit down inside the spice jar.
No. No.
But I've had them for 20 years and I
That's
like
right.
they work. So,
I know. And the Tupperware, the nice thing about those is that the measurement is raised.
mhm.
So it's easy to be seen because, a lot of the measuring cups that you get today, I know I was looking at a set at Publix, another set that it had a certain color. And I was looking at it. But the first thing I did was to see where the measurement was because I'm getting to that point where, if I don't always have my glasses on, I need to be able to know what the measurement is. And so I was rubbing to see. And, everything is kind of that little
Yeah,
sticker type stuff that's going across.
yeah.
Well, that's not working for me. I need to make sure that I get something that's more raised. And so, as we're thinking about those types of things, now when we bought our Tupperware, we paid. It wasn't inexpensive at that time, and it's really not inexpensive now to
Oh,
purchase
no, they
Tupperware.
got throwback
It's more
Tupperware,
expensive.
not cheap.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but they have stood the test of time.
Yes.
So those are the kind of things, as at this point, as I start to purchase items, I want things that are going to hang around here for 20 years. And so this brings me to, as we look at our duplicates along the way, are we cleaning our items well? And the reason I say this is because, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but it's I'm real funny about sticky stuff. You know, when you pick up your skillet and you've got all kinds of gunk all over the back and on the bottom, I am a Brillo pad or
Mhm.
baking soda, and I've got it. And I'd rather scrub the color off of it and it be clean than to have all the other, stains and stuff all over it. And if it gets too stained and I can't get it off, it's going to the Goodwill.
Tossed.
And so what do you suggest? Because I'm sure there's somebody out there who has a skillet or a pan that's out there that they have done everything they possibly could to clean that particular stain.
Well, what I do is, first of all, you got to start working on it from the beginning. You can't let it get away from you.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So, what I mean by that is this. Let's say you might go a few days and you don't scour the bottom of the pot, but you do have to scour the bottom and the sides of the pot. Otherwise, it will get grungy. So, I like to take either a Scotch green pad. And
Mhm.
I didn't
Mhm.
think to bring one up, but I will sprinkle a little baking soda on the bottom,
Mhm.
or maybe some Comet or Barkeep's Friend or something like
Mhm.
that. And I'll put that on the bottom of it. Now I don't mix all those things together, but so because I'm not trying to get a chemical reaction going, but either or.
Mhm.
And I might scour that with a Scotch green pad, or I might scour it with a Brillo pad or something like that, and to scrape away any of that grease or that buildup that starts on the bottom of the pot, as
Mhm.
well as on the sides of the pot, so that you
That's
don't
true.
get that greasy, sticky buildup. And the same thing on the cast iron on the outside. You got to
Mhm.
clean that off,
Mhm.
because if you don't and it gets away from you, then you're not going to be able to clean it up.
Mhm.
I know I had a friend that was saying that one of her sisters was burning up her pots.
Mhm.
What I pointed out to her is that no, neither one of you are scouring the bottoms of the pot. And that's
Mhm.
what makes all the difference. I was watching a YouTuber, a very popular one. She was cooking something. And when she picked that pot up and I saw the bottom, I was like, oh my God, you know. But and it's a very popular brand of cookware. It's the Caraway
Mhm.
cookware.
Mhm.
One of the things that I learned about that Caraway cookware, they have, like, let's say this is the bottom of the pot.
Mhm.
In the center, there might be like a silver circle
Mhm.
around the bottom of the pot. You have to keep the heating element on that silver circle. If it gets outside of that little silver circle and gets
Mhm.
in this part of the pot that's underneath, it turns it dark and you can't get it off.
That's true.
You can't get it off. So I learned that the hard way, because I've got this
Mhm.
little bit of a discoloration on the bottom of my Dutch oven, but you have
Mhm.
to stay on top of it.
Oh yeah. I know I was watching someone who was making some bread the other day and they pulled their Dutch oven out of the oven and I just about fainted because I thought, "Oh my gosh, they're going to cook in that Dutch oven." It was awful. And by my standards,
Hmm.
but because I'm picky. And but I'm thinking, if they had really cleaned it up along the way, it wouldn't have been that bad. And so, but certain brands of cookware, it's not about the price
No.
because certain brands of cookware, as much as they may cook and you just love them and they're beautiful, but the reality of it is that some of them are hard to keep clean.
Yes.
And if you don't stay on top of it, and plus they're it's hard, there's certain things you can't use on them. Well, if you're in a real kitchen and you're
Mhm.
doing real cooking, you're going to get stains on it and you're going to need to clean it up. And so sometimes baking soda works,
Mhm.
but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you got to put a little elbow grease to it. And if you put a little too much elbow grease on some of the name brand,
Scrape the
um,
paint off.
you will have wiped it out. That will be the end of it. And so, that's something that as we're looking at our cookware, and I know I'm going to go through my cookware um, drawer and cabinet just to see what's in there. Number one, what's in there that I haven't used in ages. And, I'm at that point where it used to be that I was probably cooking for 10 to 20 people every weekend.
Mhm.
And, but now I'm not doing that. I'm going to their house. And so, so I don't have to worry about having these massive sizes of, whatever it is. So I am going to starting that donation box.
You
And
know, I was listening to you say that, and I've got this cabinet out in the garage where
mhm,
I had a set of like Maitre Chef or something like that,
mhm,
stainless steel cookware forever.
mhm,
And um, I've got two pots out there.
mhm,
They're probably like Dutch oven size, but
mhm,
but they're like a skillet with no handle.
mhm, mhm,
And I thought, well, if they're out there, I don't use them ever because
mhm,
I've got a set of Curtis Stone cookware,
mhm,
a set of Caraway cookware,
mhm.
and I have a few extras. So I'm like, well, what do I need those for? And I did keep one of those silver ones in the house because hubby used it all the time to fry his fish.
Mhm.
And when he fries his fish in it, the bottom of it got dark, and I was going to throw it out. He says, "No, I want to use this." Well, I don't use it; it just stays there, and he used it. Well, now he's deep frying it in a saucepan,
Oh.
and which is working for him. But it's like I
Mhm,
have to stay on top of the bottom of that saucepan because when he
mhm,
cooks it up, he washes it out on the inside. He'll wash it around the outside, but he
mhm,
doesn't scour it.
mhm,
There's a difference
mhm,
between washing it and
mhm.
scouring it.
Well, you're right. You're right. And I see Renee brought up something that I had thought about. Um,
Oh,
Spray oven cleaner. I tried that on the bottom, and you put saran wrap on top of it, and you let it stay there. I usually do mine overnight, and then really the next morning you can really take either barkeeper or baking soda, a nice little paste, and just give it a little rub, and whatever it is just kind of dissolves and it leaves.
mhm.
And it seems like spray oven cleaner has gotten a little, it used to be that it was so that
Okay,
you just couldn't stand it, but it's not quite as offensive at this point. But that's a good thing, Renee. That's a great
to try
thought.
that. Oh
And
my.
especially for those who have spots on the bottom of or around their cookware that they're having trouble with.
Mhm,
But be careful because the cookware like Caraway, Hexclad,
mhm.
and there's another one. They have warranties. And so you really have to read those warranties, because with a lot of those, if you really get a really, really bad stain, you can send it back and they will replace it. And so now, how many times they'll do that, I don't know. But I do know they will at least the first time. But keep that in mind along the way, to be careful about what you use if you plan to send it back, because they're going to look at that and they know that you've got the warranty and they expect for you to stay within that warranty. So if you have done the things that they say to do and the stain still doesn't leave, then send it back, ship it back. And, you go from there. But, I have gotten to the point where I would usually purchase really nice cookware and put a lot of money into it. But you do run into the problems of stains and those kind of
Mhm.
things that are very hard to get off. And once they get to a certain point, I'm at that point, okay, if I can't get it off, then I'm going to donate it. I don't want to feel guilty for donating something that I've spent $200 for, for one piece. And so I will, get something not quite so expensive. But I've had my Rachel Ray set. Oh my gosh, I've had that thing 20 years, and I can clean it. It has stood the test of time, and it has done very well. And so, and it wasn't so expensive that you
Mhm.
felt like you had just.
And I have a sister who had her set of Rachel Ray, and she said, I hate this Rachel Ray because she didn't scour the bottoms and she felt like it burned up. But see, it's like it's how you treat it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's how you work with it.
And
And for some people, it's not important
Mhm,
to that the outside of it is so scoured because they're not cooking.
mhm,
The food isn't out there. So it's
mhm,
all a matter of what's important to you. So I know when I was younger, I didn't like cleaning the stove. And I would wipe it up, but I didn't always give it a really good cleaning every night like I
mhm,
should. So sometimes it would get grease and stuff all built up on it. And I realized that I had to make a mind shift
mhm,
in cleaning that stove, especially when we got a electric stove.
mhm,
So you just have to decide what's important
mhm,
to you.
mhm,
I was talking with someone the other day. I was talking about a bath, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to clean the tub. I'm taking a bath." But what I realized as she continued to talk, she came from a very large family. There were like 13 children in the family.
oh,
There was always a problem with somebody not cleaning the tub when they took a
mhm,
bath, especially the younger ones or the boys. So it was
mhm,
like, well, who's going to clean the tub? I'm like, well, it's not that big a deal unless
mhm.
growing up or it's something in your history has
Mhm,
made it a problem. And it was a
mhm,
problem for her because she was one of the older ones in the family. And some of the younger ones would not clean the tub, or they were too young to clean the tub, and was
mhm.
something she had to do. So it was a mind shift. I said, okay, you got to clean this stove every night.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll admit, some nights I just wipe it up.
Mhm.
Wipe it up one night. The next night, I'm gonna get out my scouring pad, not the scouring pad, but the um, cooktop cleaner and clean it.
Mhm. I know. And with the glass tops in particular, well, the glass tops and um, what's the one where you
Ceramic,
set the pot on it and it automatically heats
convection or something.
convection. I think that's it,
I
convection.
know.
And my daughter has one of those, and it's beautiful. And as soon as you pull whatever it is off of it, it's off. So I mean, we used it at Christmas, and it was, I thought, oh, this is going to be tough at Christmas, but you know what? It worked out great, and you didn't have to worry about anybody getting burned, near the store if something
Really?
was on. It really is very nice, but it being a glass top means that you have the same problems as with most glass tops in trying to keep it clean.
I had a known.
Yes, yes. Well, I tell you, I have the gas stove here, and but the gas stove has its own little problems sometimes
Mhm.
too, trying to keep all the grids, the grills clean, and all that stuff. So, either way it goes, there's a certain amount of cleaning that has to be done. So, uh, Renee was saying that she's at the point where Tutu said that she never buys real expensive nonstick pans. And I'm with you, Tutu, because nonstick pans within a certain time period they just automatically, I don't care how expensive they are, they start to peel. And
Mhm.
once they start to peel, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So there's no need in spending an outrageous amount for nonstick pans, but you buy a nice one and then just replace it. But they're not to the point of where it's just so crazy in price. And I have some all clad as well, but I love my ceramic. And
I think
I
I
have,
want some of that all class. Well, I'll probably never get any because they're not in my budget, but they look pretty.
They are very pretty. They are very, but they've all got issues too. Darlene says she sprays her tub after each use and it keeps her tub looking shiny.
There is a method spray, like a after shower, or
Hmm.
you get out, spray it down with that, and that will help do the trick.
Yes, it does.
It really helps.
I have one of those this little thing. It has a handle to it, but you can put your soap into it, and
Mhm.
it has a little scrubby sponge on the end of it. So even while you're in the shower, before you even get out, you can just take it and go around. I mean, shower stays clean all the time, and you always have everything you need in it, so that you don't have to spray anything because everything's in the device. So that works out very well too. um, Deb Whitmore is saying that her husband says that she's a pot snob.
I am too.
Yes, you want those pot bottoms shiny. And sometimes it's not, I'm not going to say that everyone doesn't clean the bottom of their pot. I'm going to say that sometimes they cook with heat that's too high.
Too high, yes.
If the heat is excessively high, they're trying to get through, they're
Mhm.
they're cranking up that heat, then anything that touches it is going to burn. Most of the time, if you keep a more reasonable heat, then whatever it is, you'll be able immediately to take it off, let it soak a few minutes, take your little scrubby,
Mhm.
go around, and it will come off. But if you're cooking with extremely high heat, then that's going to be a problem. you
Well,
know
as Caraway says, you only should use medium to medium high. You should never
That's
use
right.
high. So if I want to cook on high heat, I don't use my Caraway because I want to keep it nice.
That's right. That's right. Because Caraway is an investment.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
is a true investment. Now, I don't know about you, but we love Chinese takeout. And what ends up happening is that I end up with all those little containers along the way. Well, when you first get them, then they're clean, they look nice. But after a few uses, then they start to look grungy. And it's hard getting the big guy to throw those away. I need those. I need to use that for my such and such, or use it for this. So I really have to do it when he's asleep.
I would say do it when he's not there. When you go
So
out to play golf, then you do it.
yes, I have to get rid of those. And so, but that's one of the things that, as we're going through our kitchen, and we're starting first with the kitchen. And another reason why we're starting first with the kitchen is the fact that we need to have the kitchen in order by the end of October. That's our cutoff date. By the end of October, our kitchen should be humming, and we should be very happy with how the kitchen is operated, how it's organized. We should feel very good about it.
Mhm.
And um, so think about that. So we've
Yeah.
got time to do it and not be overwhelmed. Now, Tutu saying that she's confused on when to replace cookie sheets. They can begin to look scary, but still cook well.
Now, cookie sheets are one thing that I think that a lot of people end up looking grungy because they bake, and I think the oven bakes the heat on them, and they just kind of
Mhm,
get that way.
mhm.
I don't know if there's something different you can do with those.
I don't, and I went through a period as soon as it started to look even the least bit, I would toss it out or,
Mhm.
donate it and come back. And then I thought that's kind of wasteful because it's still a really good pan. But I'm at the point where I'm typically trying to use parchment. And this is a tip for everybody. There is reusable parchment.
Unless hubby
So
tosses it.
yeah. And there's reusable parchment. And so the nice thing about it, and depending upon what you're cooking, if you buy a nice brand of just regular parchment, you can reuse it. So you say, for instance, if you're just putting bagels or toast, and you need quite a few, and you're using a cookie sheet, then you can reuse that. Wipe it off real good. I use a soapy towel, wipe it off, let it dry, and I'll reuse it. And for like cookies or something like that. But and of course, the cookie. If you're making cookies and however many batches you're doing, then you reuse it. But very seldom at this point. And that's the funny part. I had a brand new cookie sheet, and I use parchment all the time, and it's still discolored.
I think
So
it's based on kind of like the grills or the racks in your oven.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Just bakes on.
It
And
does. It does. So I've gotten to the point where I don't worry about it because I know I'm going to use parchment, or in some cases, depending upon what I'm preparing, I might even use aluminum foil.
oh,
But it just depends, what it is. But that's a way to be able, if you're concerned about the look, then you can certainly cover that up. But and it's easier cleanup too as well. You won't have to scrub it. But Tamika said that her spouse is the same way with those takeout containers. I know, they get attached to them. They find things to do.
I don't have anywhere to put those kind of things, so I try to toss them.
Mm-hmm,
I just
mm-hmm,
try to get rid of them. So I'm at a point now. If somebody wants something to take home, I usually don't have anything to put it in.
mm-hmm.
Because I don't keep those butter cartons anymore and all that stuff
No.
I used to. I just
Mm-mm.
don't have space for it.
Yeah, I don't. I got rid of all of those, and so the only thing I have one little stack of those containers that he likes, and but I did figure out that they do sell them on Amazon. So what I would do eventually, at the end of a few months, I'll go through, get rid of the yucky ones, and just replace them, so that at least they look nice if he's going to use them. Guys, we have been here. We've talked a lot, but it's something that as we're preparing for, I'm not going to even say we're really preparing for the holiday. We're preparing for the fall and the winter. That's really what we're doing, because we know that we're coming into the time where we're all going to be home more. Most of the things that we're going to do are going to be done indoor. Typically, this is the time of the year where we're doing a lot of cooking. And so there are things that our kitchen is going to be well used. Now, the one thing that I didn't get to that Mr. Denise and I had talked about was our refrigerator. And I thought about mine today. We're talking not the inside, because all of us clean the inside of our refrigerator.
Mhm.
It's the outside, the pictures, of the cuties in the household, the grandbabies, the doggy, the whatever that's on the outside of the refrigerator. Do we need it?
My mom used to have so many magnets on her refrigerator. Everywhere she went, she would buy one, and she loved Minnie Mouse. So she'd have all kind of magnets on the front of her fridge. I have a few. Probably, I don't have a lot, but I do have a couple pictures up there that the grandkids
Mhm.
mailed to granddaddy. And they're on the fridge.
Mhm.
And just a couple little magnets. I don't have a lot, but probably more than I actually need. But when I
Mhm.
get ready to clean the stainless steel, I have to take it all off, wipe the
Mhm.
top down, then I
Mhm.
organize them, put them back up there.
Mhm.
But I don't have a lot. But yeah, I could probably do with less.
Yeah, well, I was reading Southern Living, and this was their suggestion. Their suggestion was to take everything off because evidently we're not the only ones with the refrigerator issue with the pictures, and they said take everything off and let it stay clean, totally clean
Oh,
for 1 month.
a month.
1 month blank.
Hmm.
And see if you really miss having all the stuff up there. And then if you really do, if there's something that you really need, I know, I can tell you one thing that I know would have to go back. That would be those magnetic can openers. I've got one of those. The guys have to have that for their beverage,
Mm.
and so there has to be one on the refrigerator. Okay, so that would have to go back up. But other than that, I really couldn't think of anything that would have to go back up. And they feel like, if it doesn't have to go back up, then if it's pictures, find a little album, put a little album together
Mhm.
and, put it in an album or have a place somewhere else that you could put them. Now, one lady suggested that what she did, she went to somewhere like Dollar Tree
Mhm.
or TJ Maxx, found, or maybe she even ordered it off of Amazon, but she found duplicate picture frames and she sprayed them like in the silvery color,
Mhm.
the stainless steel color, and put the pictures each in their own frame. And then kind of made a framed wall on her and put magnets on the back so that
Mhm.
it was magnetized. And it was so pretty.
And she
And
could change out the pictures,
yes,
but keep the
she
frames. I like
exactly,
that
and
idea.
keep the frame. So like she had taken off one frame and it was one of her, I don't know if it's children or grandchild, but she has like 5 different years of pictures that was in that frame that she just kept them in their stack. But the most recent was on top that you could see, but
Mhm.
all the pictures were there. And but she said then that way it looked pleasant. It didn't look like clutter. And I thought, what a great idea.
I'll have to look at mine tomorrow. Maybe I'll look at it when I go downstairs and just kind of think about, okay, what do I need to do? I'm going to accept your challenge and just kind of look around the kitchen and see what I do need to declutter. But I remember once I went through and I decluttered some glasses in my glass cabinet.
Mhm.
These little juice glasses that I had gotten thrifting, and they were cute. And I got them for when the grandkids came, they could drink juice out of them.
Mhm.
And then I had like 6 or 8 of them. Then I thought, I don't need
Mhm.
all these juice glasses. I just kept 3, and
Mhm.
I use them in the bathroom to hold toothbrushes.
Mhm.
So my little granddaughter was here. Well, she's 13 now.
Uh-huh.
They were here about a month ago. She's like, Grams, where are those little juice glasses? I says, oh, I decluttered them. She says, Grams, I look forward to drinking out of them when I come. Who
Who
knew?
knew? The things they remember. Isn't
Yeah,
it funny?
like, who knew they would remember those little glasses?
I know, I know. Remember when we used to save the juice, the little jelly jars always had cute little pictures and stuff on them. So
Shows how old we are. Yes, I remember that.
yes, and I know we had years of jelly jars, and
Mhm.
that's they get cleaned up nicely, and they became the juice glasses.
Yes.
But it's funny the things that we used to do and the things we're trying to do today. We're trying to do it better, and we're trying to do it in a way that's not stressful, that we don't feel overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And, so many of us, the closer we get to the holidays, we have people who are in our community who have problems with depression, who
Mhm.
have problems with, who are easily overwhelmed. And so, in thinking about that, we're trying to give suggestions of ways and things that we can do that will maybe ease some of that tension along the way. And so I'm hoping actually, we probably given you way more than 10 tips along the way. But um, there, it's we want to share with you some of the things that that we've done. And I, I was looking. Oh, Hazel's right. I'll come back to Hazel. She's given us a suggestion, everybody, catch Hazel, about those cookie sheets. And yes, they are, and I do like those. But
Mhm.
look. I love the Minnie Mouse. You know, we had the Minnie Mouse. You had all the little cartoon characters. The kids loved them, and they used them forever. Well, my suggestion was take it with you. When they left to go to, to get their own houses, I
Mhm.
tried to give them their glasses, their cups, all those things.
No, they
They
want to come to
really,
your house and use them.
yes, yes, they want to clutter my house. When I go to their house, they don't want that at their house. And so it's just so funny. So
Well,
guys,
like my oldest son, well, all three of my kids, I had a closet full of letter jackets, cheerleader
uh-huh,
jackets, all this kind of stuff. And I told the kids to come get their things, and they did not. So the ones that live out of state,
mhm.
I boxed them up and I mailed them to them. And I boxed up my son that lives here. I boxed it up. And when he came to visit, I handed it to him so he'd have to take it home. Because, I don't want to end up donating his letter jacket to the Goodwill or anything like that.
Right.
And when I sent my one son his things in Georgia, the kids got a kick out of opening up the box and seeing his things from high school. And
Mhm.
Jordy was trying on Jill's cheerleader jacket and like, go fight or whatever. She'd never been a cheerleader herself, like, go fight, and just kind of laughed. So, but yeah, I sent those things to them because I
Mhm.
thought you have your own home, you have your own attic, you can manage that
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
Because everything you keep is inventory that you have to manage. And as we talk about this, I think about some things that I've got out in the garage in a few boxes.
Mhm.
I think about some things that I have up in the attic in a
Mhm.
time will tell box or a quarantine box. And I asked my husband the other day, don't I have a box up in the attic that has some blah, blah, blah in it? He's like, nope. So I guess time did tell.
Time did tell, and it went out the door.
Right. But though, you think about all those things that you put in a box and you hide from yourself, you're
Mhm.
thinking you're going to get to it, and many times you
Mhm.
don't. And what
Mhm.
you said at the beginning of the show is that, our kids don't want our stuff.
Mm-mm.
Our house is filled with our stuff. Their houses are filled with their stuff. So
Mhm.
they don't have room for our stuff.
No, no.
Hmm.
And the thing of it is that what we think is so cool and pretty and
Hmm.
special, they're thinking that's not my style.
I
And
gave each of
so,
my daughter and each of my daughter-in-laws a Longenberger basket because I had
mhm,
several of them right here. I packed them up, sent them to them, but I'm thinking they probably don't care that much about Longenberger. Longenberger baskets used to be the
mhm.
thing around back. They're
Oh
meant
yeah.
to pass down to your.
Mhm,
But I'm thinking, who knows what they're going to do with those things? But at least I donated them to them
mhm.
while they can enjoy them. And if not, well, but it
It,
is
it
what it is.
it goes where it goes, and
Mhm.
it probably end up with someone who really wanted it in the end.
Yes.
And you and that's something to think about with all of us, as we're holding on to things and trying to streamline our life. As we're streamlining, we want to make sure that the things that we do hold on to, that they are valuable to us. And as Tamara would say, and don't you be messing up anybody else's. Well, we're not gonna force them to have to put up with our stuff.
Yeah.
So I have kind of told mine, if it's something you really want, you better put your name on it, because
Oh, take it
otherwise
now.
it's out of here. Take it
Mhm.
now.
Take
Take
it
it now,
now.
and
I
I'm
was thinking
okay
about
with it.
coffee mugs. So you've got coffee mugs on the list. And my
Mhm.
husband said he swears those coffee mugs multiply on their own, like gremlins. You put water on them, and all of a sudden there's 10 of them.
You got a whole cabinet full.
And no matter how many you donate, you end up with more because they're such cute little gifts and things like
Mhm.
that. But I see on the notes you had you giving away a coffee mug or a water bottle. That's another big thing that people have today is water bottles. There's
Yes.
so many water bottles. And I think when my daughter moved, I cannot tell you how many water bottles they had. You got 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kid has like 5 water bottles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And some of that's because I know I had a ton because it seemed like as a teacher, every year they would give the teacher something.
Mhm.
And so we would end up getting either mugs or water bottles. And it was something they thought that we could use throughout the year. And
Mhm.
which we did.
Mhm.
But then when I retired, now what do I do with it?
Mhm.
Because it's not something I'm going to carry now. And so it was funny because I asked my daughter, I said, would you like to have this? She said, Mom, no, I didn't work there. And so it's like, okay. So when it was interesting because I donated it, I sent it over to Goodwill. The Goodwill is in the same area of the school that I worked. So it had the logo, the whole to do. So somebody ended up getting, the logo and the school name with water
Mhm.
bottles and all kinds of little paraphernalia along the way. So, it's kind of fun. It's fun at the time, but, we're trying to, like we said, we're trying to streamline.
Mhm.
And so if we streamline at least a couple of times a year, then it's not so overwhelming. And I'm hoping that as we keep in mind, we talk about Miss Denise has this card that she sends out every now and then with her aprons that say,
Mhm.
that homemaking is an art and a science.
Mhm.
And it's the art part. I love the art part, the pretty, the decorative, the this and the other. I like that part. But it's the science behind it that's
Mhm.
going to keep us sane.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so we've got to know the science in order to be able to do the job that we want to do. And to keep in mind, guys, and you all know this, that clutter is going to attract even more clutter because Mr. Denise talked about that the table that she had, it was sitting there going, you can put something on me. I'm sitting
It's
here waiting.
something else, and you guys are gonna laugh at this. So back in the day when I was a girl, we didn't have Glad bags and all that kind of stuff. You
Mhm,
use brown paper bags to put your trash
mhm,
in or to put your garbage in. So you go to the grocery store, you get brown paper bags, get your groceries, take them home, and then you save those and you lined your garbage can with those in the house.
mhm.
To this day, if you set a brown paper bag on the floor, somebody's in my age going to walk through and throw some garbage in it because it's just like that's what you're used to those being used for. No, leave them sitting out. They're folded up and put away, and I get them out. I'm getting ready to pack something up to take somewhere.
Mhm.
But yeah.
It's just that was what you were used to doing.
Hmm.
And it's so funny because the kids don't have that association. They're so
No,
used
they
to these
don't.
plastic, grocery bags, and which is another clutter problem because you got to. I know I've got to stack a whole thing. I keep putting them inside this bag. So
But those are recyclable.
yes, well, I have this huge bag that is full of them that I need to take over, but I keep forgetting every time I leave to go take them with me to the store so I can recycle them.
Yeah.
And
Like
just
Debbie sent me one at her store that she shops at. I think they started where you have to bring your own bag. So she made,
mhm,
and then she made one for me and sent it out. So I take that one, like if I'm going to Aldi or somewhere like
mhm,
that, I'll take it with me.
mhm,
And I met a lady there one day too. She has a really nice Longenberger bag. It's about this
mhm,
long with a
mhm,
nice handle. So she puts it
mhm.
on her arm and she
Oh,
shops
yeah, nice.
that. Yeah.
Mhm. Those are nice. Those are nice. And I think more and more stores are going to cater to the bags less and less, because they want you to buy those that are reusable, and
Mm-hmm.
which is understandable because they've got to recycle all that, and it's getting costly to recycle. So
Now
we
you
have
were going to talk about spices too. That's something else that can
oh,
clutter in a minute.
spice
I got 4
cabinets.
cans of pumpkin spice.
Oh, me too. I try to get a fresh one every year, but what I never do is throw away the old one. So
Yeah.
this year I just didn't buy one.
Should I throw my pumpkin spice out? I probably got, like I said, 3 or 4 cans of them.
Yeah. And as we think about those spices too, that's going to be something that within between now and October that I am going to take the time to go through my spice cabinet and really try to pare down, because there are certain spices that you use all the time. And then there are those that you only use at Christmas and Thanksgiving. And so I've gotten to the point where I try to get them as small as I possibly can.
The small containers.
So that I can use those, because by the time the next holiday comes, the integrity of that spice is gone. The spice is not as fragrant. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I opened a bottle of chili powder the other day, and it had absolutely no flavor. So, and some of the bottles of spices that you get don't have an expiration date. And so, in fact, a lot of spices don't have expiration dates. And so you just have to be aware of it, so that, if it's still sitting there within 6 to 7 months, get rid of it. Get rid of it, because it probably is not going to do the job that you want done. So keep those in mind. Keep those spices in mind.
Especially if you buy one for a particular recipe. I remember I bought some saffron for a recipe. And for whatever reason or another, I didn't make the recipe, so I never used it. I had that saffron in my pantry probably for 10 years because it cost me so much when I bought it. It was quite expensive. So I thought, well, I'm not throwing this out. I finally just tossed it because I thought, what, don't matter how much it costs, I'm not using it. So I pitched it. But it had taught me not to buy an expensive spice that I may only use one time. I'll look up in a minute, what can I swap out for this?
For that. Absolutely. Absolutely. So guys, I know we're getting late, but as we start to streamline our kitchen, and as we're working through the next month or so to get all of those jobs done, then we want to be able, by the end of October, to have a nice clutter-free kitchen. And Dee's on. Hello, Dee. In the middle of that. Sorry, guys. I got sidetracked. We're glad you're here.
We're going to have to get her on with us soon.
Yeah. That would be fun. So we want to be clutter-free. That's the main thing. We want to be able to go into the holiday with exactly what we need to be able to work into our kitchens very easily, and to just have a fun late fall and winter where we can focus on the family, and we're not so much focused on what's going on in the kitchen, and other than just doing our normal routines. So, Miss Denise, you have anything else you'd like to throw out there? You got a couple announcements. Look at that. Look at that thing.
I had to think for a second. So, one of the announcements that I have is that we're going to be, for Apron Diva, we're going to be running our into summer sale. So check us out at www.aprondiva.com. See what we got there. But my biggest announcement is that, I've got my water bath canning course up and running. You guys can sign up for it. I just thought, did I put it in the description box of the video or my last one? I probably didn't, but right now it's making season. Apples are in, peaches are in, zucchini is in. So there's all kind of things that you can use to water bath can and take control of what you're putting on the table for your family and what you can save at the grocery store. So do take advantage of that. So sign up for my course if you want to learn how to do water bath canning, and if you want to learn how to do sourdough,
come to me. And we are still working our sourdough sundae.
Mhm.
And keep an eye out, because every Sunday in September there will be something new that we are doing with sourdough. And let me tell you the sourdough secret. Today I was trying to wake Liz up. Liz had been in the refrigerator for about a week, and I took off half of it and fed her. And it
You
was so
discarded half and fed her.
I discarded half
Okay.
first and then fed her. And so it was so chilly in the house. I thought, man, it's going to take forever for her to get, nice and bubbly and ready to use it. So I had used my crock pot the night before. Well, my little crock pot has it has a high, a low, and a warm. And so
Oh.
what I did was that I lined the bottom of the crock pot with two kitchen towels, folded up, fold them half, put them in the bottom, and then got two like mitts, like you would use to pick up a pot, cooking pot, and put those in the bottom. So you had a good, so she didn't touch the sides of the crock pot. And
Oh, so the heating
so
element wasn't actually on her.
uh-huh. So I turned turned it on to warm, got it nice and toasty in there, took my thermometer to check the temperature. The temperature was 84. Well, she likes she that's the temperature that they like. And so as long as it doesn't get up to 90, she's good. And so I let it stay on for about 30 minutes before I put her in there, and then turned it off, and then sat her in there and let her stay. So as it started to get a little chillier in there, I would check the temperature, see how I was doing. As long as it stayed between like 78 and 80, it was a good temperature. So I turned the warm back on, and for about 10 minutes, and then turned it off. And so, girl, all of a sudden I looked, she had bubbled over
Oh.
in less than 2.5 hours. I mean, she was ready to go. And so I thought, why didn't I think of that before? And so, if your house is chilly, now we know, because I was concerned, and you have a warm setting
Mhm.
on your crock pot, you can do it. Like I said, I put a couple of kitchen towels, and you all will get to see this. I'm just letting you know. I'll give you a preview. You'll get to see on Sunday, because how I lined the crock pot, and put her in there, along with, I ended up with two, because I have two recipes. Not that you'll only get to see one, but there's one that I'm working on that you'll get to see the following week. And so I put both of those in there to get them nice and happy. And anyway, it works. It works. It wasn't too hot for her. And because sometimes our houses are cool. And I'm trying to think, I
Yeah.
think C. Pollard, which is actually Cinta, was having trouble with Pearl. That's her starter. Was Pearl. She was having trouble with Pearl. Pearl was kind of like Harper. Didn't want to get going. She was just messing around, and then finally it got warm in her house, and bam, it took off. And so I know now it's the warm environment that they need. And so, just for those of you, just so you know, winter's coming. And so, on those chilly days, you can use your crock pot to get them nice and get your starter warm. And just keep that in mind.
Okay. I was going to ask you, talk about when you start to get that little film of water on the top.
That's the hooch.
Hmm.
Now, the hooch is good. And what the hooch is showing you is that, first of all, you just need to stir it back in. But
Okay.
what has happened, the reason the hooch is there is because your starter's hungry. That's
Oh,
your indicator. And because when you sit it in the refrigerator for so long, you're really going to get a good layer of hooch.
So I should take Harper out and feed her.
And take her out, give her a good stir, and just stir it up. Now, if you're going to use it, then go ahead and feed it. But if not, then just stir it up and put it back in there. It's
Okay.
just indicating to you that I'm hungry. Hello, I'm still here. But and sometimes it means that she needs just a little extra flour because um, if you have a really, really thick starter, very often you won't see much hooch. And that's because you've got more flour that's in there. So the next time, what I have done, I've just gone there and tossed in a tablespoon of flour in there and stirred it all back up. And then I don't have a problem with the hooch too much. But the hooch is not a bad thing unless he's starting to smell. And that's if you've kept it, in there a little too long. But I typically take it out about once a week just to, take off some of the discard, feed her again. And then, if you're not going to bake with it, put it back in the refrigerator.
And I got a jar discard. I should probably stir it up and put it in the freezer if I'm not going to use it right away.
Yes, yes, yes.
There's a question on here from Charlene. I think she's at the bottom.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Is it just me or does anyone else have a plethora of lids? Well, yes, I did. And, but that was one of the things I had to purge. I tried to make sure that I went through and looked at the containers that I had, made sure I had lids for each container, and any lid that didn't have a container, it was gone.
Jars too.
Jars as well.
I don't have a lid for a jar. Don't keep it.
That's right. And you just have to, you may not store them together. You may separate them, store them, but you just make sure that you always have, the container and the lid. And then that way you won't have any extras. Because somehow or another, I think I had lids before I did that. I had lids that were 30, 40 years old that were still sitting around. And I'm going, no, I had Tupperware lids, and I know the Tupperware container had been gone forever.
I had to finally do that. Yeah.
I had to toss them. So, those are things that all of us, they get, they go in, they find a place and they hide. And then you think you have what you need and you don't have a lid for it. So just yes, you are not by yourself. You are not alone. Oh, so Miss Denise, this has been fun. We're going to have Streamline kitchens, and we're going to do it in about a month. We're not trying to do it overnight.
Nope.
Because life be lifing, and we have other things that we need to do. And we have family that we need to attend to ourselves. And there are places where we need to be. So for all of you who have been with us tonight, we are really very thankful that you have taken the time to spend with us tonight, to share with each other, and certainly to be a part of this family. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, then take a deep breath and just think, this is something that has been, that it started quite a while ago. And it may not change overnight. So it may take a little while to get it done.
Yes.
So do one job at a time, and doing it one job at a time, eventually all of it will get done. Agree? Ms. Denise, you have any other great words?
Well, I was just going to remind everyone that everything you keep is something you have to manage. And I think it was Dana K. White, when she was on the show once, and in this book, Organizing for the Rest of Us, she made that comment. She said, everything you keep is inventory that you have to manage. And I hadn't thought about it like that. And I thought, you know what? She's right. When you keep it, you have to figure out where it's going to go, what you're going to do with it. You have to manage it. And I'm at a point in my life where I want to manage less. I don't want to have to get a storage unit to hold stuff that I don't have room for in the house or in the garage. So
I agree.
trying to think about that. And so I'm really working at trying to have less to many.
I am too. I am too. And I'm thinking too that there, as we eliminate and let go, that's freeing us.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I am thinking there's always someone out there who needs whatever it is.
Yes.
And I don't want to hoard it. I
Hmm.
want to let it go. And so I'm, homemaking doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
We want it to be fun
Hmm.
and enjoyable. Of course, you're going to have moments when it might not be so enjoyable, and that's okay because that's just life. But
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be one of those things that you are dreading every day.
Hmm.
So we're going to work together. We're going to streamline.
Hmm.
We're going to simplify it. We're going to work on storing things appropriately. We're going to look at stocking to make sure that we have what we need.
Hmm.
And certainly we'll make sure that we have the staples that we need to make sure that our families and all of us are well.
Hmm.
So without further ado, to all of you, I hope you have a blessed week. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Miss
Next week.
Denise, you stay right there. And I'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.